Okay, so here what we've got is the first 2 rows of the deep chevron blanket, which I think are fairly easy to understand from the pattern. You've got the V-stitches here, the V-stitch increase here where you've got a V-stitch, chain 3 and a V-stitch, and then you've got the V-stitch decrease where you've got a V-stitch and there's no chain between, and you skip stitches to get the decrease. The second row is quite easy to see. The V-stitches here are worked in between the spaces, chain 1 spaces of the V-stitch on the row below, and the increases are worked into the increase chain 3 space, and the decreases are worked either side of the decrease from row 1. Now row 3 is where it gets slightly more difficult to explain on a pattern, and so this is what I'm going to show you now. Okay, so just join our new yarn. So every row, what I've done is I've worked each colour, I've worked 2 rows in each colour, which seems to work well. You can obviously, if you want, to try and change that. So I've joined my new yarn here. I've done chain 3, which is obviously what it says in the pattern. Now I'm going to work my first V-stitch, and it's worked into 2 rows below. So you skip the first V-stitch on row 2, and then you work the V-stitch in between the V's, if you like, of the V-stitch from row 1. So whereas in row 2 you're working in between, on the chain 1 space in between V-stitches, you're actually working this into the chain 1 space of the V-stitch. Okay, so we go in, do 1 treble, chain 1, 1 treble into that first V-stitch, then my chain 1. Now I'm going to work my next V-stitch into here. Okay, like so, treble, chain 1, treble. Now this is where it's slightly different. I'm not going to do my increase, but that is worked into the increase of the row below, directly below. So I go into this chain 3 space here and do a treble, chain 1, treble, and then my 3 chain, 1, 2, 3, and then a V-stitch into the same space again. So that's my increase, and that's done into row 2, the row below. And now I'm going to go down the other side, so chain 1 and skip this stitch here, and I'm working my next V into this V-stitch here on the row below. Okay, so in the chain 1 space there between the trebles. Okay, alright, then chain 1, skipping this one here, it's working the next one into here. Okay, and now I'm going to move down and do the decrease. So I'm going to skip these 2 V-stitches here. Can you see? I'm not doing a chain 1 because this is a decrease. I'm going to work my next V-stitch into here. Okay, in that. Treble, whoopsie, chain 1, treble, and this makes this a really deep chevron, if you like. And now I'm going to do my chain 1, so that's my V-stitch decrease, and now I'm working into this one. Okay, so that's the next one. So there's 1 V-stitch on the way up, and there's an increase, and then 1 V-stitch on the way down, if you like. So I'm doing my chain 1, and I'm on my increase, so I'm working into this space now, into the row below, directly below. Okay. 1, 2, 3. And once you've established this pattern and you get used to what you're doing, it's actually really simple crochet. There we go, chain 1, so much my next V-stitch into here on the way down. Okay, I'll just finish this row with you, that one, and so now I'm going into here, and this is the end of the row. I've just done a 2 pattern repeat here, so V-stitch into the last one here, and then I do a treble into the top of the chain 3 from the row below. So there's no chain here because essentially you're doing half of a decrease into there. Okay, let's see, like so. Now I'd stick with the yellow and I'd turn around and work another row. You're now repeating row 3 again and again and again, changing colour every 2 rows. Okay?